Hello, and welcome to Emily's Literacy Corner. Today we will be discussing the importance of writing and how fostering vocabulary skills can enhance your students' writing. And this can be especially helpful for our multilingual learners. So why is writing important? It is obviously incredibly important. Through writing, we are able to communicate our thoughts and ideas. And it's not just about recording information. It's one of the 4 domains of language, along with listening, speaking, and reading. When students write, they are actively engaging with language and structure, vocabulary, and content knowledge, which strengthens reading comprehension. Writing is how we show what we know, and it is an important skill across all content areas. In 2017, NAEP, or the National Assessment of Educational Progress, reported that only 27% of students write proficiently. Hispanic students scored about 22 points behind white students. And since not all Hispanic students are multilingual learners, the gap between multilingual learners and white students is likely larger, though this was not reported on in this study. Multilingual learners are not only trying to write, but they are also learning a language besides their home language, as well as academic content. So it's important for teachers to know and understand their students' language proficiency when teaching writing. With this knowledge of their students' language proficiencies, instructors are able to provide English language development instruction and differentiated instruction to help all learners. Because writing is so important, we need to ensure that we are giving all of our students ample opportunities to write and setting them up for success. One way to help our multilingual learners with writing is to foster vocabulary skills. So we will spend the next few minutes discussing how we can do this in a way that builds our multilingual learners' writing capacity and confidence in a new language. Moving forward, I will be using examples from a social studies teacher's perspective. It's important to remember, though, that no matter what content area you teach, you are also a writing teacher. We cannot leave the writing instruction up to the language arts teachers alone and just expect that students will be able to transfer those skills across content areas. When students are using these writing skills in various contexts, it helps them become better writers, which also helps them become better readers. One scaffold that could be useful for multilingual learners in writing is to provide word banks. Word banks are great because multilingual learners do not always have the academic vocabulary that is necessary for writing assignments, because academic vocabulary can take you years to attain. So this is an example of a word bank that I might use for maybe a 5th grade writing assignment on the Revolutionary War. So for example, the writing assignment could be, imagine you are a colonist living in Massachusetts in 1775. Write a journal entry describing the events leading up to the battles of Lexington and Concord. How do you feel about the actions of the British soldiers? And so I have provided a word bank with some useful words that could be helpful when students are trying to think about what they're going to be writing. Something that is really useful about this word bank is its scaffolded categories. This is another way to reduce the cognitive load for students. I have put these words in categories of core content, so words they might need to know just generally. Proper nouns, so words that would be helpful to know for the specific writing assignment. Action verbs. And then I also have sentence starters. This is important for writing fluency. Multilingual students often have high-level ideas and they understand the concepts, but they might struggle with the complex syntax of academic English. So by providing a sentence frame, like although the British tried to, we give grammatical structure allowing them to focus their mental energy on their ideas and not trying to figure out how to structure a complex sentence or a dependent clause. This word bank is not just a list of words, it's a tool for building their syntactic complexity. I want you to keep something in mind with word banks, though, that providing these words with no other context will not be helpful to students. You will need to make sure that they understand each word in the word bank. So how do we do that? One step in ensuring that the words stick in students' mind and they really understand how to use the word in context is to move beyond academic dictionary definitions. For our multilingual learners, a formal dictionary definition might contain even more complex language than the target word. So we must teach vocabulary explicitly using student-friendly definitions and multiple contexts. So for example, we're going to look at the word colonist. So instead of giving the formal definition saying a settler or an inhabitant of a colony, those words might not make sense to some of our students. We could give a more student-friendly definition and say a colonist is a person who leaves their home country to live in a new place that is ruled by the old country. So that uses words that are more accessible to our students. Follow up that student-friendly definition with clear examples of the word and non-examples to kind of set some boundaries for the word. So an example of a colonist would be someone living in Boston in 1770, and I've got a picture here to demonstrate what that might look like. A non-example would be a modern-day American citizen or a tourist visiting America today, and there's a picture here of what that might look like as well. Providing these clear boundaries helps the multilingual student understand the word's nuanced meaning and, crucially, how to use it correctly in their own writing, moving the word from just kind of a passive recognition to actively being able to produce the word. Beyond teaching the meaning of a whole word, we can drastically improve multilingual learners' spelling and writing fluency by teaching morphology. Morphology is the study of word parts. So you've got roots, prefixes, and suffixes. And this is powerful because if a student knows the meaning and spelling of a root of a word, they can then spell or understand several related words and make connections between those words. So using a core concept from the Revolutionary War in our social studies classroom, we've got the word independence. So when a fifth grader writes this, they might struggle with some vowel sounds or forget the suffix. And instead of just correcting them, we can explicitly break down the morphemes so that helps them understand the whole word. So for this word, we've got the prefix in, and that carries meaning. That in means not. The root of the word depend means to hang on to or to rely on. And the suffix ence, ence, that changes the word to a noun, meaning the state of being. So if we put all of those together, it's the state of not relying on something else. So by analyzing the parts of the word, the student can spell the root depend correctly and also sees why spelling the full word is logical. It's the state of not relying on something else. And teaching Latin and Greek roots is a huge advantage for multilingual learners because many of the morphemes are cognates and transfer easily from their home language, making language 2, usually English, the spelling of that much more systematic and predictable. So now we're going to put all of this together in an explicit instructional script that you could use as you're introducing vocabulary to your students. This script was provided in the book Literacy Foundations for English Learners by Elsa Cardenas Hagen and provides a sample script that you can use when you're teaching new vocabulary to really make it meaningful for your multilingual learners. I've included the reference for this book at the end of the video in case you're interested. This script ensures that you're making connections to the student's home language and making cross-linguistic transfer clear. This helps students to understand the word and facilitates their ability to incorporate it into their writing. Once again, my example is from a social studies lesson, but as you follow along on the slides, be sure to pay attention to the underlined words. So those are the words that you can change to incorporate the script into whatever lesson you're teaching. The script touches on phonemic awareness, morphology, spelling, grammatical function, and use of the word to ensure a deep understanding of the word. It's also a good idea to have students keep a word journal where they keep the word, definition, an anchor sentence, and even maybe draw a picture to refer back to as needed. I also want you to make sure that you're paying attention to the steps where students compare the words in language 1 and language 2. So by asking them, how many sounds do you hear in the English word, and how many sounds do you hear in this word from your home language, you are intentionally building metalinguistic awareness. This is the conscious ability to think about, reflect on, and analyze language. When students notice the differences and similarities in their home language and in English, they are actively identifying linguistic features that require instruction. So this is cross-linguistic transfer in action. So now I'm going to model the script for the word militia. We've had a lot of discussions on the Revolutionary War. Today, we will explore words related to the Revolutionary War. This will help you understand and use these words when you speak and when you write. The word is militia. It means a group of ordinary citizens, not professional soldiers, who gather to defend their town or nation in an emergency. They are volunteer fighters. Say the word in your native language. And if you have Spanish speakers in your classroom, then the word is milicia in Spanish. Say the word in English, militia. How many sounds do you hear in the English word? Let's say it together. M, I, L, I, sh, How many sounds do you hear in this word from your native language? M, I, L, I, S, I, A. Do the words have the same number of syllables? Militia, milicia. How many letters are used in English for this word? M-I-L-I-T-I-A. How many letters are used in your home language for this word? In this case, it's Spanish. M-I-L-I-C-I-A. What's the same? And what is the difference between these words? So there's a lot of possible answers that the students could come up with here. And this is giving them several chances to discuss the word and really orally think about the word. The part of speech is a noun for this word. Let's look at the picture of the word and discuss other possible meanings. Once again, this is a great space for those oral language skills and allows them to really think about the word and produce oral language about the word. Now, the book says that next in the script, you ask, can we act out the word? I would suggest that you use this one at your discretion. So for the word militia, I probably would not ask this question to a classroom. But once again, use your discretion. If you can act out the word, get their bodies moving, that's even better. Let's use the word in a sentence in English. The colonists were able to defeat the British soldiers because the local militia was there to fight them off. Let's use the word in a sentence in your native language. Once again, building those oral language skills here and allowing them to talk about the word. Good job. Now we will add this to our word journal. So remember, providing multiple opportunities to practice the new vocabulary words is crucial for the words to stick. So the script not only gives students the definition of the word, but it also provides opportunities to hear the word in context and explore all parts of the word. To wrap up, we discussed providing scaffolds to students like word banks and student-friendly definitions. Teaching spelling through morphology can help students build on their existing linguistic knowledge. And implementing an explicit vocabulary routine will help the words stick and ensure that the students have multiple opportunities to practice the word in context. Here is the reference for the book that I used to provide the script. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.